how did this happen? Grandma? Curse you, Grandma.
Well, a warm welcome to you all. I'm JJ. I'm a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat beef and eggs and coffee.
And you've been really pretty tight with your diet lately.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. But now we are entering the holiday season.
The danger zone.
And this is the danger zone. For our family, your birthday is coming up this week.
Yep.
So it starts in November, mid-November. Then we go through Thanksgiving, Christmas. New Year's really isn't a big thing for us.
No, by then we're traditionally so bloated and stuffed and sick. We're ready to be done with
But
celebrating.
wait, we're not done because our daughter's birthday is mid-January.
That's right.
So when she was home with us, that would be at mid-November through
Yep, because there would be birthday
mid-January.
cake.
Yeah.
And of course, she'd want to go out for Italian or something. So it is a traditional danger zone. And I have years of my body weight recordings that show I will make all this progress, and I get down in November 13th, my birthday, it just starts the inexorable climb back up to its previous max. And that might take, a couple of months, but that's just what happened. Now, the past 2 years, that hasn't happened.
No, that has not happened.
Because we've been carnivore. But it does not mean that this season doesn't provoke massive cravings for all of the traditional foods.
So have you noticed that hitting so far then?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've talked on this channel recently, like we had was it Christmas? We decided we were going to just go off plan for the full day. But then we had a plan that starting the next day, we were completely back on.
Yes. And we stuck to it.
Yeah. So there wasn't like this endless off the wagon mode that went for days or weeks or months.
Nope.
It was a day, then and I felt really gross afterward. But that feeling gross afterward made me think, well, this next time around, I just don't think it was worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, you said that.
The momentary pleasures of eating those particular foods just wasn't worth the gut trauma. And yet here we are, and I'm contemplating those holidays again, and suddenly it's getting really, really hard to get my mind around that.
Now, I think Thanksgiving for me is the most challenging because that one is really, here in the U.S., it's focused on food. I mean, they all are, but it is, literally a Thanksgiving feast.
And not all of the foods that are traditional are really that great, like the cranberry crap.
Oh, I love the cranberry
Never
crap.
eat any of it. It's horrible.
No, and I made it with allulose last year. But it's still a plant.
Even the turkey itself isn't the best part of it.
No, it's
in
not.
my mind, it was all of the extraordinary carbs that were surrounding the turkey that was my thing.
Yeah.
And
it's the bite.
Yeah,
it's the bite of everything.
And because it's once a year flavor profile, it's just really ingrained into my brain. I mean, I'm done many decades worth of this holiday.
Now, we know we should be saying all the right things about it's really about getting together with family and having that fellowship and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's true. It's an important part of it. I love the gathering we have with your family on Thanksgiving. And yet, to me, without those foods, it just feels like a family gathering to me. It doesn't feel like a holiday.
Right. Yeah. It's the family plus the celebratory traditional foods that combine to make the holiday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, maybe it shouldn't. Maybe we should do an intellectual exercise to try to talk ourselves into a different viewpoint. But it's really tough to rationalize your way out of decades of emotional triggers. Mm-hmm. Well, you can't.
And we've mentioned on this channel, I believe it was on a live, that our family comes to see us, yes, but they want my food.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is not going to be something where I'm like, oh, guess what? I know you traveled from Colorado and you brought your future in-laws, but hey.
We're having steak.
And, they'd be,
and nothing else.
On their face, on the face value, they'd be fine with it, right? They wouldn't say, oh, but come on. They look forward to that food.
Yeah.
So we're making it.
Yeah.
We're making it no matter what.
So the problem is it has to not go in my mouth. And that is kind of the topic of the day is how do you navigate that when it's more than just temptation? It's not just, oh, I'm tempted by that because I know it'll be tasty. It's I will feel deprived of my holiday if I don't have that.
Yeah.
And how do you build a new tradition around carnivore compliant foods? Or do you? I think probably many carnivores stick to the clean eating, but I would guess just as many, if not more, probably say, I think I'm going to have at least a forkful. If you can have just a forkful of stuffing and potatoes. The obvious answer to this is plan ahead. Right?
Well, yeah. And that worked for us last year. You talked about the regret last year, when you wake up the next day and you're like, ugh. Or even that evening, I don't remember, but just like, why did I eat that? But I'm wondering, do you also then, you mentioned, you feel ripped off from not having your holiday. So if you don't eat, do you feel regret? Is this like a regret situation?
That's the thing is my suspicion is the next morning I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm glad I didn't eat any of that. And I wouldn't regret not having had it. The problem is I want to get through that day with the same happiness and satisfaction as I always do. And it's very difficult to get the mind around that. And maybe it would be better if I didn't think about it. But unfortunately, I'm thinking about it.
Well, and I'm going to be having some because I need to cook it. So just the fact that I need to season it properly, I'm going to be eating it. Even if I was like, okay, I'm only having a few bites when I taste it, which I've done before, but I'm not having any more. My brain would be locked on those potatoes for weeks after. No, seriously. Like for weeks after, I would be thinking about those potatoes and that stuffing. It would not be over in my mental world.
So you think it's better for you to just eat them and have the experience?
Doesn't this sound like an addict?
It really is an addiction in its own way.
Yeah.
But I think that it's important to talk about the holidays because there is such the level of emotional attachment to certain traditions goes so deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is just unbelievably powerful. And I wish that we had never had any of those foods as long as I lived and had a tradition of just eating steak and going, oh, it's a Thanksgiving. We're so thankful for this steak. And then had some other activity or thing we did that that made it special. But I mean, it is also the addictive nature of the carby sweet foods as well as that it worms its way into your brain.
What's interesting to me though is I'm not a pumpkin pie person, and I've been gluten-free for ages. So pie is not on the table for me. Like neither is apple pie. So I usually make some brownies or something like gluten-free brownies. The dessert is not what I care about at all on Thanksgiving. No, I mean, it's fine at the end of the meal. It's fine. But it really is the Thanksgiving foods. That is what would be stuck in my head for weeks afterwards, is the stuffing, the cranberries, and the potatoes.
Yeah. Another part of the Thanksgiving, and I suppose Christmas, anytime there's a feast of delicious things, is the sense of this is a once a year event. And there's this idea of like, I want to indulge as much as I physically can, which means 2 or 3 plates of food. And then, that really makes it worse because the overeating aspect of it, if you have any sort of gut issues, it just exacerbates it. So it isn't like saying I'm going to go in there into Thanksgiving and sample my favorite things, which I suppose would be a strategy, is to say, I'm going to have a very small portions, but I'm going to have it's going to be a keto plus, and try to go through it doing that through some sort of half measure would be a strategy if I planned out ahead exactly what I was going to eat and what I wasn't going to eat, how much, and no more.
Yes.
If I had the discipline to follow that plan. Now, I'm more likely to follow that plan if I wrote it down in advance and made the decision that I was going to do it, because then I would be, instead of coming into it from a sense of mourning and deprivation, I would come into it with a sense of power over what is going to happen.
That's what I was just going to say. I think that's the biggest message of this video. We wanted to be real with what is happening at this time of year. And I'm a life coach. So it's exactly as you're saying. If I were working with a client, I would want them to make a choice, to not fall into, I'm a victim of the holidays, or I'm not gonna stray at all, but then pretty much know you're gonna stray. So yeah, making a really empowered choice and then being able to stick to it.
And from my perspective, the key to making a really powerful choice, is your term, is to make that choice when you're the strongest. And you're not the strongest if you wait to make that choice when you sit down at the table.
No.
That's your weakest moment to make a choice. So the making of the choice, the decision, and writing down the plan and being having a sense of ownership and control over it has to happen in advance.
It does. And this is no matter what your choice. Again, we're not telling you what to do.
Yeah.
We don't know what is right for you. We don't even know what's right for us at this moment.
We will not revoke your carnivore card.
No, we will not.
Now, there is the added issue of if you're going to someone else's house and they've prepared food for you.
Oh, yes.
You have the expectations of others to eat it. And if you haven't come out as carnivore, or they're skeptical, or they think you're stupid for carnivore, that does add a whole other layer of pressure and discomfort to the event.
Yeah. I remember that would happen with my grandma and you. So she would make me the sweet and sour cucumbers.
Yep.
And she would buy you
a dessert.
Yep.
Danish Kringle from Racine, Wisconsin. She knew I liked the pecan kind, and she would buy it specifically for me. And then she made sure that it was on my plate.
So there were times when you had sort of a strategy, though, because you'd be on some sort of an eating plan.
Yeah. And I would eat it in small quantities, conspicuously, so that she could see it, but then be like, oh, I really wish I could eat more. I'm just so stuffed. I need to take this home.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to take it home where it would be tempting me more. So then it has to be dumped in the garbage.
Right. It would not even enter our house. We would get rid of it on the way. Yeah. Yeah. But that is a confounding factor.
Yeah, it's difficult. And we we could offer a bunch of strategies. We've actually covered that in a video about, do you eat grandma's pie?
Oh yeah, we did do that.
And we got a comment, just eat the pie. Just eat your grandma's pie. And it's like, I understand why someone would comment with that. But if you are battling a sugar addiction,
yes,
or that kind of food will send you off the rails, you can't eat the pie.
Yeah.
You have to think about, not going off the rails. You have to be thinking about, how is my December and January and February going to shape up to where I'm not back with my high blood sugar, my high blood pressure, my IBS and my acid reflux and 40 pounds back on the body and going, how did this happen? Grandma? Curse you, Grandma.
Oh, now you, in the past, like you said, you have a history of this is going off the rails.
Yeah.
So that would spark your sugar, your sweet tooth.
But here's the beautiful thing about carnivore is that the birthday cake and the birthday cheat meal would start the whole thing.
Yeah.
But now that's back when I would have to be eating carbs in moderation.
Yes.
You see where I'm going with this? That now I don't eat any carbs. So if I had some sort of sweet treat for my birthday, the next day I'm carnivore. So I just go back to eating that way and I deal with the consequences of the indulgence. And I can be successful doing that. But the reason this is creating such conflict for me this year is that I don't know that it's in my best interest to even have that single day indulgence. I don't know if it's worth it in reawakening the cravings that I have to deny, even though I would do it following that. Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, I have no doubt that you'd be compliant. Like we did it last year.
Yeah.
You would be done after Thanksgiving. But that is interesting of not knowing whether you can do it that day. Yeah. Or not that whether you can, but whether you even want to.
Okay, so let me pretend I'm someone else.
Okay.
All right. So I'm someone who is really compliant with carnivore, loves every steak, and feels great. And I'm going to talk to me.
Okay.
Eric, just don't do it. And if it's a problem emotionally, just get through it, handle it, and then just start living the next day and you will get over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that would be the sort of the masculine lecture to say, just don't do it and don't worry about it and just get through it. And if it sucks, well, it sucks.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And?
The end.
The end.
I don't like it. I don't like that lecture. It makes me mad to hear myself say it. So that's one way to approach it, of just be 100% purist, be disciplined, and don't entertain all of this emotional, touchy-feely nonsense.
Well, and this is introducing a lot of stress prior to the day even of thinking of what am I going to do versus if you can just make the decision that you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's done. There is no stress.
Yeah, right. Except for I have to be there watching everyone eat what I'm not having.
Yeah. But that's one day of stress. Maybe.
Yeah. But you could also just take the attitude, one could adopt, I'm better than you because look, I'm eating my carnivore compliant diet and you guys are just pigging out on all this crap that's killing you. I guess I'm just superior.
You could do that. Yeah.
It's cold comfort. Because not only do you not get to enjoy those foods, but you make yourself insufferable.
Yeah. But you wouldn't say that.
No. And I wouldn't even try to give off that vibe. I would have to just have that be in my internal monologue.
So it's really up in the... You don't have a decision yet, it sounds like.
Well, I waffled. I thought I had a decision, but as the weather has gotten colder recently and the Thanksgiving has gotten closer, a bunch of automatic triggered cravings and... I mean, for me, a food craving is not just a flavor idea that my mouth is interested in. It's a complete image in my head of the entire setting, the food, the smell, the dopamine release of the consuming it, texture, vibe, all at once coming over me. And saying, and then an expectation or anticipation of that feeling. Oh. So it's not food in isolation.
Now, you've mentioned in the past many times with me, I don't know if we've talked about it on the channel. For you, anticipation is the best part of something usually.
Oh yeah, it's always the best part.
Yeah.
Knowing that the event's going to happen, and then the approaching the event, the anticipation of it. Yeah. I mean, that's why I like Christmas music in advance of Christmas, and I don't like it after Christmas.
No.
Although technically, any day that's not Christmas is after Christmas. If you think about it. But our nameless daughter is also like that.
Yes.
She has very rigid rules around when Christmas is allowed to start. And it doesn't start until the day after Thanksgiving.
That is the truth.
Whereas for some people, it starts the day after Halloween.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it started 2 weeks before Christmas. So it's really gotten expanded, hasn't it?
Oh, yes.
I couldn't believe it was like, I think it might not have been Halloween when the hardware store, the Home Depot, was switched over to Christmas.
It was before Halloween, yeah.
And all the Christmas trees were up, and I was like, good grief. That's insane. Who's buying an artificial Christmas tree and a plastic Santa before Halloween? Do you really need to plan that far ahead?
I don't.
Like, wow. Like, who? I mean, clearly they're putting it up because they think they're getting more sales out of it. But maybe it's what we've been talking about. Maybe seeing it, those decorations, triggers the holiday feeling, which then triggers more buying of other things.
Oh, maybe.
In the store.
Maybe. Yeah.
I like my theory. I can't prove it. So let's review our tips.
Oh, we have tips, yes.
And strategies for how to deal with this.
Okay. So number one, first of all, is make that decision ahead of time. When you're in a strong space, make a decision. Also, I think this is important coming from the life coaching standpoint. If it's a challenge for you, like I'm guessing Carrie, Man, Homestead How, and Jen, this isn't a thing for them.
No.
Okay.
He's mad at us just for talking about it.
Yes. Although he doesn't take away carnivore cards. That's right. Nice. Thank you, Carrie. But so if it is very far outside of your comfort zone, you need to have more strategies and more support around it. So if this feels risky to you, if you're like, no, I'm saying no this year, and everything Eric just talked about, like it's a big deal to say I'm not having anything, you really need to be ready for that. You have to really, really be ready with all your support systems in place and all your strategies. So number one, make that decision. And if it is a really tough decision, be ready for that. You're going to have reactions. So, but then there are the others, clear the house of any tempting food, period. Like we've done that. And if you can, we know some of you eat with carnivores and live with carnivores, I should say. And, but as best you can, get the food temptations out of your house. Even if you're having it for the holiday, we got rid of it. We got rid of it right away last year. It was gone, out of sight, out of mind. And even if it was, okay, my daughter's going to eat this, but it's going in a cabinet somewhere, so we can't see it.
Unless it's perishable, in which case it's got to stay in the refrigerator.
That's true, but you still can put it sort of camouflage.
Out of view.
Yeah, a little bit. So that's one of our strategies. Another is, you just had this today, have a go-to ready. Have your carnivore go-to, whatever that is. If you need to grab some butter, if you need bacon already made, if you need salt, whatever it is, you have it available. So when that craving hits, you're ready.
I have an addendum to this.
Yeah.
Is make an agreement with yourself that before you indulge in anything off plan, you have your butter first, or you have bacon first. Mm-hmm. So you pick whichever fat thing that it can be, and you have it first, and then you wait. Mm-hmm. And then see whether that gives you a little boost of self-control.
That's true. And a lot of keto people say, even just eat your meat first. If you've got a plate of things and they eat more than meat, they're like, eat the meat first.
Well, today we were doing a chore around the house and I got really tired. Mm-hmm. And you said, go eat some butter. I was like, I don't want to eat butter. So I kicked my feet and I went and I got some butter and I ate it and I felt way better.
I forget sometimes. That's why that's why I'm bringing this up, because this week I've done the same thing for myself.
Yeah.
But I forget about it. I'm just like, oh, I got a craving, or and it's like, wait a minute, just go have some butter. So be ready. Have some butter, bacon, whatever. And I like your addendum, which sort of goes with my next one too, is before you go to that event, eat. So you're already showing up full. You're already stuffed with carnivore foods, so that when that Kringle does come around, you can say, no, I really am stuffed. Can I take it home?
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Or you really only do have a spoonful of the potatoes because you can't have any more.
I have a question for you. I don't know whether this would be a danger or a help, but what about scented, like cinnamon scented candles or scented things that smell like your favorite foods, but you don't eat them because they're made out of wax?
Well, that's an excellent question. And
does that trigger more hunger, or does it make you feel, oh, at least I've got the smell component of it?
Well, I actually did an intentional disassociation from scent when I had to go gluten-free, because the smell of baked goods, bread especially, but baking cookies, I had to be like, wait a minute. I can appreciate the smell of it without having to eat it. And it was, again, a very intentional, powerful choice to go, okay, I am going to enjoy the scent.
Okay.
And that was, this was before there was much gluten-free stuff. So it was a big deal. And it was very conscious. And it worked.
Good.
I really love the smell of baking bread, and it doesn't trigger anything at this point.
So another thing that you can do is what you're doing right now, even though maybe we're not being very helpful in this. But on YouTube, which you're watching, you know all of the carnivore channels. And if you need to buck up your carnivore commitment, find your favorites and watch them, binge them.
Yep.
And get the benefits that you get repeated in your mind again and again and again. It's sort of a little bit of self-brainwashing, but that gives you much more motivation and a body memory of your conviction.
Yes.
And we call that
binge berry to build beliefs, as in Dr. Berry.
Yep.
Dr.
But
Berry.
it doesn't have to be berry.
No, it can be.
You could binge Baker, binge Chafee,
binge
Carrie,
Yeah.
Binge Kelly. Binge Bella.
Yep.
Binge Bella to build belief.
Oh, that works. That works. Yeah.
Binge JJ and Eric to build belief.
Even though we're going to maybe trigger you with our discussion about what do you do for the holidays?
Yeah, we mentioned all of the foods and how much we love them. But the most important thing we do on this channel is just tell you what we're going through and what we're doing in our experiments. So hopefully you can, if this resonates with you, it can help you make your decision going into the holidays.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I want to mention, you mentioned Bella, and she's just one of them. This might be the time to join a community if you aren't in one already. I know we are members of Dr. Barry's community. We're a member of Bella's community. And there are calls going on, I think, daily in most of these communities. I know Carrie has a community now.
Yeah, he's just starting that up.
Yeah.
Healing Humanity community.
Yeah. So it might be really, really worth it if just binging your YouTube is not enough to actually have that direct interaction with people at this time of year. We don't have a community.
I don't think we probably will.
I don't think so. No.
I don't want to be a moderator ever in my life. Banned.
You're out.
Don't tell me to have a nice day. Banned. The only button that I have is a ban hammer. That's funny.
Yeah, so it might be a time to join another community, not ours.
But we do have a community because we do have regular viewers and regular commenters. And this is an opportunity that if you have a strategy that's worked for you in the past for the holidays, go ahead and put that in the comments. Or does this speak to you? Or like, yeah, I'm having this same problem. The holidays are provoking all of these cravings and I don't know how I'm going to navigate it. We're there to support you.
And we're 2 years in. This is holiday season number 3.
Yeah, that's right.
You fell off holiday season 1.
I did. The first holiday season.
Yeah.
Well, we started in October.
Yeah.
And so that was ill timing.
Not good.
It was not set up for success.
But yeah, so I mean, it hasn't gone away in these few years.
No.
It has not gone away.
And for me, it's popped up during the summer, like 4th of July has its own kind of, it wasn't as hard.
No.
But, different times of year have different foods that pop up that make you want to eat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And these strategies work for all of those if you're planning ahead.
Yep.
All right. Anything else you want to say on this topic?
No, I don't think so. I think we've exhausted the topic. But again, share any other strategies you have. We'd love to hear them.